From Daily Trust News Center, this is News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, APC names members of Presidential Campaign Council, Vice President, Secretary to the Government of the Federation missing from list. Normalcy has returned to Abuja-Kaduna Highway as motorists ask government to fix dilapidation. Bandits attack worshippers in Zamfara as ISWAP abduct hunters in Borno. On the foreign scene, death toll of Lebanon migrant ship tragedy rises to 90. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Medina Nadabo. In politics, Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo is not on the Presidential Campaign Council of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. Oshibanjo, who is among those who sought the presidential ticket of the ruling party, supposedly fell out with the APC presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, in the build-up to the primary election. The 422-man list released by the Presidential Campaign Council Secretary, James Faleke, late Friday, has the presidential candidate and the party's national chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, as Deputy Chairman 1 and 2, respectively. In a statement, Faleke, while announcing the nominees of the leadership of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, advised them to pick up their appointment letters on Monday, 26 September 2022 at 12 noon. Meanwhile, the Tinubu-Shetima Presidential Campaign Council says the non-inclusion of the Vice President, Yemi Oshibanjo, is not an indication that something is amiss within the party. A statement from the Chief Spokesperson and Director of Public Affairs of the Council, Festus Keyamo, said since President Buhari is the chairman of the council, the president specifically directed that the vice president and the secretary to the government of the federation, Boss Mustafa, be left out of the campaign council to enable them concentrate on the governance of the country and administration of government. Keyamo noted that as a responsible party and government, all key functionaries of government cannot abandon their positions for electioneering campaigns. The campaign council said as party that has the mandate of the Nigerian people to administer the country on their behalf, at least till May 29, 2023, it intends to do that with all sense of responsibility, campaigns or not. Supporters of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, LP, Peter Obi, on Saturday staged solidarity rallies in Kwara and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, to drum support for the Obi Detti ticket. In Abuja, the supporters began the march from Unity Fountain to the Moshood Abiola National Stadium. Chiamaka Nwafo was there and now reports.
The 1 Million Man March began with the supporters converging at the Unity Fountain before heading to the City Gate, which was the final destination. Some of the supporters are excited to participate in the march. They are eager to share the excitement with us. Although campaigns start officially on 28 September, the Obi Datti supporters, popularly called Obedience, have held several rallies in the last few months to mobilize support for the presidential candidate.
We started this march from Unity Fountain through the British embassies to this place. The motivation for the people that came out today was huge. So we are out to march for Obi and Datti for president because of the agenda that he has brought before the Nigerian people. Okay, he's promising to bring inclusiveness, to unify the country more than what we have been experiencing, and to make life better for our youths, okay, and for Nigeria in general.
We are here today to show our support, our unflinching support to Mr. Peter Obi, the very humble ex-governor of Anambra State. You can see Nigeria wants change, all right? The positive change. This time around, we want a dynamic and competent leader. We want someone that will transform the country from what it is now to something that is far much better than what we have.
I'm super proud to be part of this movement, this progress movement. For me, I would say it's a season of revival for Nigeria. We the youth, we are out to say no to bad governance. It's a time we have come to correct the negative impression the world have about Nigeria. It's a time to rewrite the story of Nigeria. So we want to say no to every negativity that the world sees about us. It's time to make progress.
Isn't it time they give chance to obedient? Isn't it time they give chance to whom is due? Isn't it time we take what belongs to us? I'm proud to be a rebel. I'm proud to be Papa Mama Pikin.
Although campaigns start officially on 28 September, the Obi Dati supporters, popularly called Obedience, has held several rallies in the last few months to mobilize support for the presidential candidate across the country. Shama Kawa for Trust TV News, Abuja.
One recurring feature on Nigerian roads, especially highways, is traffic gridlock. This is usually attributed to the bad nature of the road, accidents and other issues that hinder free flow of traffic. In this report, Newell Samson looks at the recent traffic gridlock along Abuja-Kaduna Road that left many stranded for hours.
One of the roads that is prone to cases of traffic congestion is the Abuja-Kaduna Road. Often, gridlocks are caused by accidents, attack by terrorists, or bad road network. This was the case on Friday as report filtered in that Abuja-Kaduna Expressway was in serious traffic jam. At our press time, the gridlock had been cleared, but we got reactions from eyewitnesses at the scene.
Things that cause this accident, the problem is not from go slow only, it's from the road totally. The road is totally no good. That's the thing, that is the best thing that happened, this accident. Because our motor don't fall. And before the motor don't fall down, we meet a go slow. And this go slow is happened because of the road is no good.
The reason why I'm here is that the truck of my boss fell here because of the dilapidation of this road. Anytime a truck falls, long vehicle gridlock sets in, stretching in 100 kilometers up to Jere, often involving loss of lives and property. If the road is fixed, kidnappers cannot operate here unchallenged. They called upon the federal government to help fix the road in order to ensure free traffic flow in the area.
The government should sit up to see how they can put the road in order. The road is super bad. Most of the insecurity you see on this road is as a result of bad road. If the road is good, people can have free and easy movement to their destination. Last time we were on this road for 5 hours from Kaduna to Abuja. So if you have an emergency to attend in Abuja, a journey that is supposed to take you less than 2 hours, and you are spending more than 5 hours on the road, basically because of the bad road.
This is the point where the accident happened that caused traffic deadlock. But as you can see now, commuters can now travel freely from Abuja to Kaduna and Kaduna to Abuja. Newell Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
After days of painstaking work between the Kaduna State Government, Julius Berger Nigeria PLC, the military and other relevant agencies, the gridlock at the Qatari axis of the Kaduna-Abuja Road has been resolved. A statement from the Kaduna State Commissioner, Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, said there is now free flow of traffic at kilometer 75 of the highway, which was the epicenter of the gridlock, after a heavy-duty vehicle broke down at the location, causing a blockage. Aruwan, while regretting the protracted situation which placed citizens in an undesirable state of severe hardship for days, commended security agencies that worked round the clock to ensure continuous security and safety of stranded citizens. About 15 worshippers were said to have been killed by suspected terrorists who invaded the Ruwan Jama'a community in Bukuyum local government area of Zamfara State. The incident was said to have occurred last Friday at about 1:45 p.m. when Muslim worshippers were observing the Jumu'at prayer when the bandits stormed the central mosque and started firing sporadic gunshots, killing 15 people. Eyewitness accounts said several other persons sustained gunshot wounds and have been taken to hospital for medical attention. The bandits, who were said to have ridden on motorcycles parked far away, trekked to the troubled community and launched the attack on Ruwan Jama'a Central Mosque. An eyewitness said the terrorists also ransacked houses in the affected community and carted away valuables. At least 7 security men were abducted by the Islamic State of the West African province, ISWAP, terrorist group, in the early hours of Saturday in the northeastern Gubbio local government area of Borno State. It was gathered that the security men, comprising 1 policeman, 4 members of the Civilian Joint Task Force, CJTF, and 3 other hunters were abducted after they were overpowered by the terrorists who stormed their location in large numbers. Police sources told Zagazola Makama, a counterinsurgency expert and security analyst in Lake Chad, that the security men were attacked at the rural urban migration site, Ruga, at Pompombalia village, located about 5 kilometers to Gubbio. The terrorists carted away 1 Hilux patrol vehicle and weapons, and thereafter moved toward Gadai village in the Nganzai local government area. Bandits have abducted 5 persons and also snatched 6 motorcycles along Tekweshi Gurdi communities in Gurdi ward of Abaji Area Council of Abuja. Bandits had a fortnight ago invaded Tekweshi community, killing 1 person, and abducted a former councillor, Mohammed Ibrahim Tanko, village chief of Tokweshi's son, Ibrahim Sarki, alongside 16 others. A sum of 5.2 million naira ransom, including drugs and recharge cards, worth 75,000 naira, were said to have been collected by the bandits before the victims were set free last Friday. Confirming the latest kidnap incident through telephone on Saturday, the incumbent councillor representing Gurdi ward, Woje Ishaya, said the incident happened around 5 p.m. when the bandits blocked the road between Tokweshi Gurdi and abducted 5 persons on motorcycles. The FCT Police Command is yet to issue a statement on the incident. President Muhammadu Buhari has said insecurity in Nigeria will soon be a thing of the past with the renewed efforts of the Nigerian military. The president said this at the weekend in New York while speaking during an audience with the Prime Minister of Ireland, Michael Martin. The president, in a statement issued Saturday by his spokesman, Femi Adesina, told the Prime Minister that with the experience during the COVID-19 pandemic, it was better for the world to work together rather than independently for enhanced progress for humanity. Michael Martin had told President Buhari that Ireland was looking for ways to increase the level of relations with the country. He expressed hope that his country would move into other areas like the deployment of technology to help Nigeria overcome its challenges in health and security. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has filed an appeal challenging the ruling of Justice Polycarp Hammond of the National Industrial Court, Abuja, which ordered the lecturers to call off their 7-month-old strike and return to the classrooms. Counsel to ASU, Femi Falana, based their appeal on 14 grounds. The motion is seeking leave to file the appeal pursuant to Section 243 of the Constitution that requires that party to seek a leave of court to appeal the judgment or ruling of the National Industrial Court. It is also seeking for a stay of execution of the orders of the court pending the hearing and determination of the appeal. The application was supported by an affidavit which was deposed to by Samuel Ame, a research assistant in the office of Falana and Falana's chambers. National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Zone E, Northeast, has called on the Academic Staff Union of Universities to toe the path of honor by respecting the court judgment to return to the classes. The coordinator NANS Zone E, Al-Hassan Adam, made the call during a press conference at the NUJ Press Center in Bauchi. Adamu Imam completes the report.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has been on strike since February 14, 2022 to press home their demand for improved funding for universities, a review of salaries for lecturers, among other issues. The federal government went to the National Industrial Court to challenge the strike. Following their over 7-month stay at home, the students says it is time for ASU to have a rethink on the matter in the interest of all Nigerians.
As leaders of Nigerian students, to ensure that their welfare is being given to them, we keep on doing that. We are always with the government, where we used to advise them and appeal to them to do the needful for us. And inshallah, we'll keep on doing that until when we achieve our target.
NANS lamented that they are always at the receiving end whenever issues of strike come up. They, however, reiterated their commitment to protect the interests of Nigerian students by ensuring an end to the long face-off between ASU and the federal government.
My brother, I keep it the record. Tomorrow, doctors will go to strike, ASU will go to strike, judiciary will go to strike, and this country will stand still. So we are begging on ASU, I will say, it's not necessary that they must get all what they want 100%. But at least, if the government is ready to give them something, let us consider we are their children. This is affecting us directly because, as you said, no minister today in Nigeria or federal permanent secretary in Nigeria that his son or daughters are in these public universities. They are all abroad.
They appeal to the federal government to also meet ASU's demand on salaries to enable them settle their debts and other expenses. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Should women propose marriage to men? Stay with us.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. A recap of our top stories. APC names members of Presidential Campaign Council, Vice President, Secretary to the Government of the Federation missing from list. And normalcy has returned to Abuja-Kaduna Highway as motorists ask government to fix dilapidation. Moving to more news. Activities marking the 4th anniversary of the Ekiti State Governor, Kayode Fayemi, and the inauguration of the Governor-elect Biodun Oyebanji have commenced in the state. The Commissioner for Information and Values Orientation, Wale Omole, who also doubles as the chairman of the anniversary, while briefing newsmen in Ado-Ekiti on the anniversary tagged Finishing Well, said the celebration is meant to showcase the progress and successes recorded by the outgoing administration. Omole said the 1-month-long activities are to give an account of stewardship by Fayemi's administration to the people of the state. In the course of the celebration, the Ekiti International Agro-Allied Cargo Airport would be inaugurated, 36 people honored, and several other projects commissioned in the state.
It's not a new fight, administrative-wise. It was an integral part of all the fees recorded by the outgoing administration. This simply means that the path to sustainable development already marked out by the Fayemi-led administration will be followed through in the overall best interest of its people. Gentlemen of the press, I'm therefore using this medium to appeal to you to rally around the incoming administration in the best interest of our people. Let us join hands with our governor-elect and the deputy governor-elect to consolidate on the legacy policies, programs, and projects of the Fayemi-led government and keep it working in our collective best interest.
Barely 5 months to the general election, construction work at the 2 underpass bridges and 1 flyover bridge has reached 70% completion as part of the urban expansion plan of Katsina Intercity. While flagging off the construction work, Governor Aminu Bello Masari promised to complete the underpass and flyover within 1 year. Jamil Mabai visits the construction sites and sends this report.
Contractors working round the clock as the date set for completion of the first flyover and 2 underpasses approaches. The idea of building flyover and underpass bridges within Katsina Metropoli was initiated by the current administration to bridge the infrastructural deficit in the transport sector and part of the urban expansion of Katsina Intercity. The 2 underpass bridges in Kofar Kaura and Kofar Kwaya are estimated at about 5 billion naira, while the flyover construction at the government reserved area will cost over 4 billion naira. A visit to the construction site reveals that contractors are busy with work that has reached over 60 to 70% completion. Commuters spoke to Trust TV on the impact of the construction of the flyover and the 2 underpass bridges.
With these developed countries, you cannot develop without infrastructure development. That infrastructure is what you call the road, the flyover, the underpass, the hospital, and others. So in Katsina State, this is a first time a sitting governor initiated a project worth of billions of naira to ease the suffering of the transport within the Katsina city, or I can say Katsina metropolis. So
gaskiya alhamdulillah mun Allah godiya da muka ga ana yi mun wannan flyover haka.
We are grateful to God for this flyover. It has significant importance in a town There is traffic congestion in this particular area, which causes a lot of distress. It is hard to navigate in case of accident emergency. With this, traffic movement will be smooth even in cases of emergency. At least we can boast of having a flyover in our state, just like how other people boast of theirs. It is very important, especially during fasting periods, where traffic congestion is high. Although contractors are working round the clock, residents want the government to speed up construction to meet the deadline. By now, we thought the Kofar Kaura Bridge ought to have been completed. The Kofar Kaura underpass holds commercial significance as it is a strategic route that links Katsina to Niger Republic down to Jibia International Market. Jamilu Mabai, Trust TV, Katsina.
No fewer than 86 persons have been arrested over alleged defaulting of the monthly environmental sanitation in different parts of Nasarawa State. The Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Yakubu Kwanta, made this known shortly after the environmental sanitation exercise in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in the report as presented from our studio.
Every last Saturday of the month is Sanitation Day in all parts of Nasarawa to clean the environment and improve hygiene. While monitoring the exercise, Nasarawa State Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Yakubu Kwanta, said 28 were found as defaulters in Lafia, the state capital, while 86 persons were arrested over alleged violation of the exercise across states.
And we had a lot of defaulters that were arrested and will be prosecuted according to our law. Within the Lafia metropolis, we were able to apprehend about 28 persons, defaulters, and we have a total of about 86 defaulters across Nasarawa State. That shows that our enforcement team is very, very effective, and we will sit down and strategize our team to see that we design the architecture of the environmental enforcement.
He said those arrested have been charged before the different mobile courts, adding that sanctions based on the gravity of their offences have been meted on them. He said laborers engaged by the government will ensure complete evacuation of refuse dumped by the residents at different locations of the state.
We have more than 7 trucks going around evacuating all the dump sites. And it is not something that you can do it within 1 hour or 2. And they will continue to do it, and it may last till evening. But I assure you, we will clear all the dump sites before the day runs out by the grace of God.
The commissioner also commended the police and other security agencies for their contributions to the success of the exercise and promised to continue to enlighten public to comply with the importance of environmental sanitation.
We will continue to sensitize them. I've already set up a temporary committee within the ministry. All those areas that we saw that there is less level of compliance, we're inviting the shop owners to encourage them and have proper synergy with us so that in the subsequent sanitation we'll have a total compliance.
During the exercise, shops and other business premises remained closed.
The United Nations independent expert on the enjoyment of all human rights of older persons, Claudia Mahler, has commended the National Senior Citizens Center's extensive consultative forum on aging. The National Stakeholders Consultative Forum on Aging is an NSCC-led multi-stakeholders network working to improve the lives of older persons, their families and communities across Nigeria. A statement by the Head Corporate Affairs, Media and Communication of the NSCC, Omini Oden, said the UN independent expert described the platform as an exemplary model of stakeholder engagement with all stakeholders in the country that ensured holistic care for older persons. Malo, who recently concluded a visit to Nigeria, expressed delight with the consultative forum and met with members of the forum in Oyo, Benue, and Lagos states, and also met and interacted with all co-chairs from 34 states virtually on the Stakeholders Consultative Forum's governance structure, the partnerships with states and local governments, and processes of domesticating the National Senior Citizen Center Act and National Policy on Aging, and the progress so far made. The Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, Antonio Ojukwu-San, says the Commission received more than 1.7 million complaints from 2018 to 2021. Ojukwu, who revealed this in an interview in Abuja, said out of the 1.7 million of the complaints, over 60% have been handled. He said the Commission was able to achieve this because of increased manpower, specialties, and a deeper level of research that enables it to resolve complaints. Ojukwu informed that most of the complaints are related to police brutality and extrajudicial killing, adding as soon as he came on board, he decided to embark on public inquiry on SARS activity and recommended the disbandment of the police unit. Ojukwu added that the government did not act fast on the recommendations, adding that the End SARS protest started shortly after that.
As at the end of 2021, we are recording almost 1,700,000 complaints. And we've been able to effectively handle almost 65 to 70% of these complaints, because we are able now to have more hands, have more specialties. Majority of the complaints we are getting about violation of human rights was from law enforcement agents, where most of the complaints were on police brutality, extrajudicial killings, and all that. So immediately I came in, we decided to embark on a public inquiry on the SARS activities. We now state to task that we have to deal with this issue of impunity by law enforcement agents. Now, you also recall that one of the recommendations we did, which was not accepted by government then, was the establishment of state police and local government police, because we saw the level of insecurity in the system.
Some bookshop operators in Abeokuta, Ogun State, have lamented the dwindling reading culture among Nigerians, especially the youths, due to the advent of technology. This culture has negatively impacted bookshops' owners as patronage continually dwindles. Abbas Dalibi spoke to some bookshop operators and now reports.
Bookstores and libraries face hard times and poor patronage as students, others, embrace e-books due to the advent of technology. Oyelade Nosmat Abolade, who sells books, said although the advent of technology is affecting their business negatively, it however adds value to the bookshop business when viewed from another angle.
Some area that is help us, where it didn't help us in the view areas. There are some areas that you see a book, maybe you see it in social media or you see the titles. Instead of you to come to the bookshop and get the book, you can also search for it online and started reading it. And some areas we post our shop, so do the advert on social media, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We see they will patronize too.
She said students now focus more on their phones than on reading books.
Instead of them to be reading books, carry phone.
Mr. Adebayo, who was at a bookshop to buy books, said today's youth don't have an interest in reading books.
Youth of these days, they are not interested in reading. The social media thing has even spoiled the thing. Has spoiled everything entirely.
He said parents have a lot to do to encourage their children to read and improve in their reading culture.
Parents should encourage the children so that we go back to the 60s when somebody like me was in school, primary, secondary. In those days, there is always a library in every school. But today, there is nothing like library. The library that has faded out in our schools has even contributed to the reading culture that has faded away.
Michael Adesanya, a journalist based in Abeokuta, disclosed that as Nigerian youth were focusing on the internet and their phones today, their counterparts in developed countries are still reading books. Hence, something must be done to address the issue.
It is something that is so worrisome in the sense that gone are the days where students go to libraries to read. Gone are the days where students wait after school hours to read at school. Even school libraries, even the public libraries too, are no more something that our students patronize again. Any assignment given to them, they will just branch to Cyber Cafe, they will just log into Google, Wikipedia, they will see answer there. So with the advent of digital, with the advent of ICT technology, the students are beginning to read less. So I think the advent of technology has done more harm to the reading culture in all over the country as an African. But if you go to other climes like the Europe, they still patronize libraries because it is part of the system. You go to the libraries, it is a must for you, you have library pass. How many higher institutions do follow that? So the reading culture is going down every day. It is dwindling every day. Gone are the days that the parents will wait. You will see the student carry their book that it is a must, you must read. But the students, the government, all stakeholders in the education sector must come together to do something about this.
From Abeokuta, Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
The Center for Citizens with Disabilities, CCD, has demanded inclusion of persons with hearing impairments in Nigeria in all strata of life. The CCD Executive Director, David Anyaile, in a statement in commemoration of International Day of Sign Language, harped on the need to make necessary provisions for persons with hearing impairments to enable them live a good life. He lamented that the deaf in Nigeria attracts exclusion, isolation, and stigmatization, as well as poverty. The theme of this year's International Day of Sign Language is Sign Language, Unite Us. A sign language interpreter in Oshobo, Olatumbosun Taiwo, said that many of the persons with hearing impairments do not get adequate care and support from their relatives and the community.
There are so many problems that people with hearing impairments are facing. To start with, if we can see that in most cases, we can see that their parents don't show care for them. They lack parental care. When they're supposed to give them support and provide for their needs, some do neglect them, thinking they are being punished by God by giving them such particular child. So they usually leave their responsibility. Some that even care may not have true understanding of what that particular child is passing through because of the gap that is between them and their children. So in most cases, they find it difficult to communicate with them, both at home and in the society at large. Also, when we talk about medical, if we have any deaf person that need attention in the hospital, they need interpreter so as to make themselves clear, because the doctor may not have clear understanding of whatsoever they are saying because they can't talk. And if there is absence of interpreter, they will not be able to express themselves well.
Polycystic ovary syndrome, popularly known with its abbreviation PCOS, is a common condition that affects how a woman's ovaries work and could ultimately affect the fertility of a woman. September is a month designated to stir up awareness for the condition, and in line with this, stakeholders have staged the first ever Nigeria PCOS walk. Chiamaka Nwafo reports.
The start-off point is the Millennium Park. Participants are registered and offered free medical checkup. Then there's aerobics to get the participants ready for the walk. But perhaps the crucial question is, what's the point in all of this? It turns out the motivation is fueled by a survivor.
11 years ago, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. At that time, I didn't even know what it is. There was little or no information concerning this condition. The statistics shows that 1 in 10 women have polycystic ovarian syndrome, but half of that number, 50% of that number, may remain undiagnosed. That's why I have decided to take it upon myself to champion this cause, to put out as enough information and education as I can, do my bit to let women know that these things can be treated, the condition can be treated, it can be controlled.
So what is PCOS? A doctor explains the ailment.
PCOS is called, full name is polycystic ovary syndrome. So as the name says, we normally will see a lot of cysts on the ovaries. So we normally will call it in medical terms an anovulatory dysfunction, where the ovary does not produce an egg. So in this case, the ovaries are not able to produce an egg regularly. So what you see a lot is what we call menstrual irregularities, and also they have issues with fertility. The also unique nature of PCOS in itself is also that it has a syndrome attached to it. So most people that have PCOS have weight issues, weight challenges, but although we do see PCOS in very slim people as well. Some people are said that they have a lot of cysts on their ovaries, but they don't necessarily have the polycystic ovary syndrome.
One is tempted to ask, why should PCOS awareness be sponsored?
We are really excited to come on this sponsorship because the excellence and stability we speak about is a wholeness something, and we know that a lot of women are going through health issue we call PCOS, so this is like a reach out to make sure that people get the daily information that they need.
To demonstrate the importance of building awareness for this cause, participation is not restricted to women alone.
Aside from the major things that PCOS does to your life, there are daily other things that affect your life, like depression, low moods, tiredness, anxiety, fatigue, different things. But the doctors don't treat that. They just tell you, oh, come back when you're ready to have a baby. So being a patient of PCOS over the last couple of years has been quite a depressing period.
I believe that this awareness that we started today is a huge step for people to know about this. I am very, very sure that the majority of the women don't even know that they live with polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Important information emanating from the awareness walk is that PCOS can be treated, and every woman with the issue can live a whole and healthy life. Chiamaka Nwafo, Trust TV, Abuja.
One tradition that has come to stay the world over is that of men proposing to the ladies when it comes to marital relationship. With each passing day since the feminist revolution of the 70s, there have been noticeable shifts in that tradition as the world is gradually being subtly introduced to the idea that it may just be fine for a lady to propose to a man as well. So, what do people think of the possibility of having the ladies propose to men? Fatima Musa speaks to some Nigerians in Abuja.
Can a woman propose marriage to a man? Well, that's the question of the day. In some parts of the world, proposing marriage is not a big deal, but some religion, tradition, and culture thinks otherwise. Let's find out from people what they think about this. For many, women proposing to their male partners is nothing new, as it has been witnessed in many parts of the world. To this group of people, as far as the result is positive, it doesn't matter who pops the question.
Yes, of course. Like, maybe you are in love with somebody and the person is not financially okay and you are okay. It's not a bad deal. But here in Nigeria, we take it as a wrong thing for men.
Yeah, it's normal. It's only in this part of the world that you see women feeling inferiority complex when it comes to issue of proposing to marriage. In many countries, like some developed countries, you see how bold the woman will be to propose to a man for marriage.
We are in a modernized society now. What happens previously, due to our culture, people feel that, as a man, you're supposed to do everything. But with modernization and the way it works now, it's easy.
If a woman can take that bold step and ask, then before a woman can ask a man, will you marry me? Then after being in a relationship, you know the kind of man you're going out with.
On the other side of the divided are those who see it as a no-no, since the responsibility of popping the question rests on the men. To them, religious and traditional belief system restricts them from such modern-day contradictions of age-long practices.
Well, it all depends. Some people might think that the lady is desperate, that she doesn't have self-respect based on the African culture. You know, we are Africans, yes, but it all depends on personal opinion, you understand?
Well, I don't think it's okay according to my religion. I'm a Christian, and I don't think I've ever come across any place in the Bible where a woman approached a man. Because there will not be respect, and he will not know the value of the woman. That's why.
Well, there you have it. Some people say it's okay for a woman to propose marriage to a man due to civilization, while some say it's against their religion and tradition. Fatima Musa, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Head ties are a common garment that are worn in African countries and in most cases serve as a means of identification of a particular religion, region, or community of the wearer. Due to the diversity of Nigeria and the number of ethnic groups, the way that head ties are worn varies between communities. In this special report, Salis Lawan takes a look at innovations in tying head ties. The report.
It's all about enhancing beauty. When you have this glam, like when you make up and you have this head tie on your head, there's this look, there's this confidence, there's this, you look good, you look very good.
Head tie is basically a form of dressing for the head, worn by women in the Western African country of Nigeria. In contrast to the head ties worn by women in other countries, it is usually large and ornate, and as a result, is associated with ceremonial outings rather than day-to-day usage.
This one I'm tying is called sweets, and the one on my head is called kafi.
When I tie gele or I come for makeup, I feel happy and I feel like I'm so beautiful and more beautiful again.
However, some women also wear a smaller, less formal head tie for everyday activities.
We have cross round, cross side, aseta, most especially used in the northern parts of the region. Aseta is almost everywhere.
Trust TV visited some locations where the brains behind innovations to tying head ties are, and they give more insight as regards tying.
I myself make a living from tying head tie. I don't tie for free. At times I used to attach it to the makeup.
Started with tying before makeup. It was through tying that I paid money for my training.
Ceremonial head ties usually cover both the ears and hair of the wearer, whereas everyday head ties will only cover the hair. No matter the sizes, shapes, and structure, the beauty of head ties will always add color. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
About 16 cases of fire and other related incidents were recorded during the third quarter of 2022. particularly between the month of July and August in Bauchi State. The director of Bauchi State Fire Service, Bala Garba, disclosed this in an interview with Trust TV on fire disaster management in 2022. Adamu Imam completes the report.
Despite the huge funds expended on fire service stations across the country, Nigerians still believe that services from these stations still need government attention, especially in the area of modern firefighting equipment. Despite the above position from Nigerians, the Fire Service Director says they are working hand in hand with the federal firefighters in an efficient way that guarantees safety.
Since then, the Federal Fire Service started building the office at Mudalawa. Well, up to now, the office is not yet to be commissioned. But what we normally do here in the headquarters, anytime we receive a call, a fire call, normally either the state went or first, or the Federal Fire Service follow, or we go together to fight the fire anytime we receive.
He also agreed that there has been an increase in cases of fire disaster, noted that they mostly occur during the dry season, attributing that to carelessness on the part of the people.
Currently, we are in the rainy season as of now. But, we can see there is no much rapid response, mostly in the incident of fire. But during the dry season, this is the period of peak that we normally have.
On their part, some Bauchi residents say they have little knowledge on how to prevent fire disasters.
At least that started from the small before it reached out of control. Yeah, at this small stage, I think perhaps I can be able to quench.
Locally, you have to use fire extinguisher. After fire extinguisher, you know, there is local people that is used to do their hand to quench some fire if it is escalate.
To quench the fire, okay. We soak the blanket in the water, then we throw it on the fire. You can also quench it.
They, however, explain in dealing with fire disaster, the state and the federal governments should do more in the area of public awareness to save lives and property of the citizenry. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. We will be back with more news after this break.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back to News Hour. We now bring you news from the foreign scene. 13 more bodies were recovered Saturday after a boat carrying migrants from Lebanon sank off the Syrian coast, raising the overall toll to 90, Syrian state television said, in one of the Eastern Mediterranean's deadliest such shipwrecks. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, Filippo Grandi, called it a heart-wrenching tragedy. At least 14 of those rescued were recovering in hospitals in Syria, while 6 others were discharged, as such efforts continued with several people still missing since the boat sank on Thursday. The number of dead from the sinking of the coast of Tartus has risen to 90, state television said. 14 people are receiving treatment at Al Basel Hospital, 2 of whom are intensive care, Syria's official Sana news agency reported earlier. Kremlin held regions of eastern and southern Ukraine on Saturday entered the second day of voting to become part of Russia in referendums dismissed as a sham by U.S. President Joe Biden. The voting on whether Russia should annex 4 regions of Ukraine started Friday, dramatically raising the stakes 7 months after Moscow's troops invaded. The same day polling got underway, UN and Ukrainian officials revealed what they said was more evidence of Russian war crimes, including executions and torture. The US president called it a false pretext to try to annex parts of Ukraine by force in flagrant violation of international law, adding that the US will work with allies and partners to impose additional swift and severe economic costs on Russia. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, in comments made to his Ukrainian counterpart Dmytro Kuleba at the UN General Assembly on Friday, said the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries must be respected. And that's it on the News Hour. Do not forget to follow us on all across our social media platforms. I am Medina Nadabo, thanking you for your time. Do enjoy the rest of the weekend.